Anna, I need to confess something embarrassing. Yesterday at the coffee shop, this guy said, "What's up?" And I literally froze. My brain just stopped working. I tried to shake his hand while saying good morning, but it was 8 p.m. at night. Then I didn't know if I should fist bump or handshake, so I just stood there like a statue. I wanted to disappear into the ground. It was the most awkward 10 seconds of my entire life.
Oh no, Jake. That's a classic case of first meeting anxiety. You failed what I call the critical 5 seconds, the most important moment of any introduction. But don't worry, because today we're going to fix that problem forever. We're teaching everyone exactly how to navigate that scary opening moment so you never feel that embarrassment again. Let's dive in and master this together, shall we? Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Talk in English. I'm your host, Anna, and we are so excited to bring you this brand new 10-part series about mastering first-time meetings. We know that meeting new people is absolutely terrifying for many English learners, so we're dedicating this entire series to helping you feel confident and natural when introducing yourself to strangers in any situation.
And I'm Jake, your co-host. As you just heard in that painful introduction, I am terrible at meeting new people. My palms get sweaty, my English completely disappears from my brain, and I say the weirdest things imaginable. I genuinely need this guide just as much as you listeners do. I want to walk up to anyone, anywhere, and start a conversation without having a complete panic attack or embarrassing myself.
Jake, you're definitely not alone in feeling that way. Meeting someone for the first time is probably the most stressful part of any language learner's journey because you're being judged immediately within those first few seconds. But it's also the most important skill to master because it sets the entire tone for the relationship. If you get that greeting right, usually the rest of the conversation flows much more smoothly and naturally.
Exactly right, Anna. So let's start with the greeting itself. Why is greeting someone so complicated in English? In my head, I just want to translate hello directly from my native language, but in American culture, there are so many different layers and options. There's hi, hey, hello, yo, what's up, and even greetings. How am I supposed to know which one to pick without sounding completely strange or out of place?
It's confusing because American English operates in two very distinct modes, formal and informal. The biggest mistake that language learners make is being way too formal in casual social settings. If you walk into a party or a bar and say, "How do you do?" you're going to sound like a robot from the 1800s. You absolutely need to match the energy and formality level of the room and situation you're in.
That makes perfect sense now. Like when I said good morning at a nighttime party, totally wrong context. So if I'm at a casual event like a friend's backyard barbecue or a networking mixer, what's the absolute safest bet for me? I want to sound friendly and approachable and warm, not like I'm trying to sell them insurance or formally applying for a corporate job. What should I say?
In the United States, if you're at a coffee shop, a casual party, or meeting a friend of a friend, you need to keep everything casual and relaxed. A simple, "Hi, I'm Jake," or "Hey, nice to meet you," is absolutely perfect every single time. It's warm, it's brief, and it immediately puts the other person at ease. You really don't need to overcomplicate this part. Keep it simple and authentic.
Okay, I can definitely handle saying nice to meet you. But what about the physical part of the greeting, the handshake situation? I never know what to do with my hands when meeting someone. Sometimes people go in for a hug, sometimes a fist bump, sometimes a formal handshake. It feels like playing a high-stakes game of rock, paper, scissors where I always lose and look completely awkward.
That's such a common struggle for everyone, not just language learners. In a business or professional setting, a firm handshake is absolutely mandatory. You must look them directly in the eye and squeeze firmly with confidence. Absolutely no deadfish handshakes. But in a casual social setting, you really have to read the other person's body language carefully. If they're a friend of a friend at a party, a fist bump or even just a subtle wave is totally fine and acceptable.
What about when someone says, "What's up" to me? That phrase confuses me every single time I hear it. Is it actually a real question? Do they genuinely want to know what is up in my life? Should I tell them about the ceiling above us, or should I describe my entire day to them? I usually just stare at them silently because I genuinely don't understand the rules or expectations here.
That's hilarious, but I completely understand your confusion. What's up is technically structured like a question grammatically, but functionally it operates exactly like saying hello. You absolutely do not answer it literally or seriously. If someone casually says, "What's up?" the correct and natural response is simply, "Not much, you?" or "Hey, how's it going?" It's basically just a verbal high five. You bounce that conversational ball right back to them immediately without overthinking it.
Okay, so just not much. I can definitely remember that simple response. It seems like the real secret here is speed and not overthinking. You can't stand there analyzing every word, just react naturally and quickly. Once you get that initial greeting right, all the panic and nervousness just disappears and you can actually focus on having a real conversation with this person.
That's exactly right, Jake. But after you say hello and complete the handshake or wave, you're just two complete strangers standing there looking at each other. That awkward silence starts building. You actually need to start a real conversation somehow, and that's the scary part where most people freeze up completely. The silence after the hello can feel absolutely deafening and terrifying.
Yes, that post-greeting silence is terrifying. So what do we do next? How do we break the ice?
That's exactly what we're covering, breaking the ice using your environment. All right, Jake, the greeting is done and the ice is theoretically broken. But now you're standing next to a complete stranger and the silence is getting heavier by the second. What's the absolute best way to start talking without asking a boring, dead-end question like, "How are you?" which usually just leads to "fine" and then more awkward silence?
Usually, I panic and just talk about the weather. It's raining today. I know it's incredibly boring, but I feel like I desperately need some kind of bridge to cross the gap between us. I need something safe that isn't too personal because I don't want to seem like some creepy person who's prying into their private life right away. But weather talk is so boring and forgettable.
The weather topic is okay as a last resort, but the absolute best strategy is what I call the contextual opener. This means using your current context, where you physically are right now, to naturally start a conversation. You and this stranger automatically share at least one thing in common: the environment you're both standing in. It's the safest and most natural way to bond because it's happening to both of you simultaneously in real time.
Can you give me a specific, concrete example of this? Let's say we're both waiting for a city bus that's 20 minutes late and everyone's standing there looking annoyed and frustrated. How do I turn that shared annoyance into an actual conversation without just sounding like I'm complaining about the terrible city transportation system? What exactly would I say?
Perfect scenario. You're both annoyed, so you have a shared emotion happening right now. You can turn to them casually and say something like, "Can you believe this wait? Does it usually take this long?" This naturally invites them to share their frustration with you. Shared misery is actually a surprisingly great way to bond with complete strangers. Complaining together creates instant connection.
Ah, I see the psychology here. Everyone loves to complain just a little bit, and it makes us feel like we're on the same team against the problem instead of being awkward strangers. Okay, let's try a happier situation now. Imagine you're at a wedding reception and you're standing at the buffet table looking at all the food. What would you say to the stranger next to you?
That's actually an easy one because you have a built-in connection already. You both know the bride and groom somehow. You can simply ask, "So how do you know the bride and groom?" That's a completely natural opener that invites them to tell a story. Or you can talk about the food right in front of you. "Have you tried the cake yet? It looks amazing, but I'm wondering if it's chocolate or vanilla inside."
That's brilliant. It's an open door for conversation. What about at a coffee shop? If I'm standing in line behind someone and we're both staring at the menu board trying to decide what to order, how do I start chatting without interrupting their morning routine? Some people haven't had their caffeine yet and they're really grumpy before that first cup of coffee.
Look at the menu board together and ask for their advice or opinion. People absolutely love being treated as experts on something. You can say something like, Have you tried the seasonal pumpkin spice latte? I'm not sure if I should get it or just stick to my usual order. It's very low pressure. You're not asking for their entire life story. You're simply asking about coffee recommendations.
I really like that approach because it validates their opinion and makes them feel helpful and knowledgeable. What if I see something weird or funny happening nearby? Like if a dog walks past the window wearing a superhero costume. That actually happens in the city sometimes. Can I use random observations like that to start conversations?
Absolutely, yes. Use what I call the "did you see that" technique. You turn to the nearest person and say, "Did you just see that dog? That's honestly the coolest thing I've seen all day." Humor is the ultimate icebreaker because laughter naturally releases tension and creates positive feelings. If you can make someone smile or laugh, you're already winning the conversation game before you've even really started.
So the basic formula seems to be observe something plus comment on it plus ask a question. First, I look around and observe my environment. The room is really cold. Then I make a personal comment about it. It's absolutely freezing in here. And finally, I ask a question to invite response. Do you think the air conditioning is broken or set too high?
That feels completely natural and authentic. It doesn't feel like you practiced this in front of a mirror for hours or memorized lines from a textbook. It genuinely feels like a spontaneous human interaction. And that's exactly the goal of Talkin' English. We want you to sound human and natural, not robotic or scripted. Real connection comes from authenticity.
Exactly right. Now, once you're actually talking and that ice is melted, the conversation naturally moves towards more personal topics and getting to know each other. And in American culture, especially, the most common question that comes up next is always about work and career. It's basically unavoidable in the United States.
Oh boy, that's a big topic. How to sound professional and interesting when talking about your job. Jake, in American culture, it feels like the very first question people ask after learning your name is always, "So, what do you do?" It's almost like a cultural obsession. Americans tend to define themselves by their work and labor. Why do you think that is? And how does that question make you feel when people ask you?
It's absolutely true. In American culture, your job title is often a huge part of your identity and how people perceive you. Honestly, it makes me feel quite a bit of pressure sometimes. My problem is that my job title sounds incredibly boring. I'm a data entry clerk. If I just say that title directly, the conversation dies immediately because nobody knows what to ask next or how to respond.
Then the secret is simple. Don't just state your boring job title. If your title doesn't sound exciting or interesting, describe the actual impact and value of your work instead. Use phrases like, "I work in," or "I help" to describe the value you bring to the world. This makes you sound passionate and interesting, even if your daily tasks are actually quite mundane and repetitive.
But how would I do that for data entry specifically? My job literally involves typing numbers into spreadsheets all day long. It's genuinely hard to make that sound exciting or impactful without straight up lying. I don't want to lie about my job. I just want to present it better and sound more interesting when describing what I do for a living.
Instead of saying, "I am a data entry clerk," try saying something like, "I work in operations for a tech company. I handle all the back-end data so the computer systems run smoothly and the team can make better informed decisions." See the difference? You moved from being just a typist to being the person who makes the entire company run efficiently.
That sounds so much more important and interesting. It gives the other person something concrete to ask follow-up questions about, like, "Oh, what kind of tech company?" Or, "Is the data complicated to manage?" It keeps that conversational ball rolling naturally instead of hitting a dead end immediately. I can also just use the preposition in to describe my industry broadly, right?
Exactly correct. Instead of giving a specific detailed title, just give the general industry. I work in marketing. I'm in the healthcare field. I'm in education. This is much broader and allows for way more natural conversation because everyone has at least a general idea of what marketing or healthcare involves, and they can ask you specifics based on their own curiosity.
What if I'm currently a student? I often feel awkward just saying I'm a student because it sounds childish, like I'm in elementary school. I want to sound like a serious adult who's building a real career, not just someone sitting passively in a classroom all day. How can I frame being a student better?
Don't just say, I am a student, and stop there. Add specific details about your ambition and future direction. Say something like, I'm studying mechanical engineering at NYU because I want to design more sustainable cities and transportation systems. Or, I'm in my final year of business school and looking to get into corporate finance. This shows clear direction and serious purpose.
That's excellent advice. And the most important part that I constantly forget is what I call the bounce back. I answer their question about my job, and then I just stop talking completely. That kills the conversation instantly. I need to remember to immediately ask them the same question back. It's like a tennis match, right?
Yes, always ask them back immediately after answering. I work in sales for a medical device company. How about you? Or, I'm a high school teacher. What do you do for a living? It shows you're genuinely interested in them as a person, not just talking about yourself. Conversation is absolutely a tennis match. You have to hit that ball back and forth.
What if they mention a job I genuinely don't understand or haven't heard of? Like if they say, I'm an actuary or I'm a supply chain logistics coordinator. I don't want to look stupid or uneducated by admitting I have no idea what that is. Should I just nod and pretend I understand?
No, be curious and honest. Being confused is actually a great opportunity for deeper conversation. Say something like, oh, wow, I've heard of that term before, but I'm not exactly sure what it involves day to day. What does that look like? Most people genuinely love explaining their job to someone who's actually listening with real interest and curiosity.
That's such a great question format because it makes them feel like an expert and gives them the conversational floor to talk for a while. I can just listen and nod and learn something new. What if I'm currently unemployed? That feels awkward to admit to a stranger.
No, it's not awkward if you frame it right. Just rephrase it positively. I'm currently between jobs and looking for the right fit. I'm taking some time off to travel and recharge my batteries. I'm actively looking for new opportunities in the marketing industry. Never sound apologetic about your current situation.
Between jobs sounds very professional and temporary. It implies that I'm a valuable worker who's just happens to be available right now. The key is confidence. Whatever you do, own it proudly. But Anna, we can't talk about work forever. That gets boring and feels too much like a networking event. We need to find out who they really are as a person.
Exactly. We need to talk about their background and where they're from. Jake, the question, where are you from, is one of the most common questions in English conversation, but in modern, multicultural times, it can actually be a bit tricky or even sensitive. Do you know why asking about someone's origin might be problematic?
I think I do, because in a multicultural society like the US or UK, asking someone, where are you really from, can seem rude or offensive. It implies that they don't truly belong here or that they're foreigners, even if they were born in that country. It's like questioning their right to be there.
Exactly right. Never ever say, where are you really from, to anyone. It's genuinely offensive. You should always accept their first answer without questioning it. If they say, I'm from Chicago, accept it completely. Don't dig deeper or push unless the conversation naturally goes there on its own. So how do we ask about origins politely without being offensive?
I like to start with a question about the current location first. I usually ask, are you from around here? It's a simple yes-no question, but it opens the door for them to tell their story on their own terms without feeling interrogated about their background.
That's very safe and smart. It asks if they currently live in this city. If they say yes, you can follow up by asking how long they've lived here. If they say no, they'll usually volunteer the information naturally. No, I'm actually visiting from Chicago, or I moved here from London last year. They control how much they share.
And if they say they moved recently, that's a goldmine for conversation. It gives you so many natural follow-up questions. You can talk about the moving process, the differences between the cities, what they miss about home, everything. Moving is a big life event that people love discussing.
Yes, you can ask things like, oh, interesting, what brought you to this city? Was it for work or school? Or how do you like living here compared to London? Is it a big adjustment? This allows them to share their personal journey and their honest opinions without feeling interrogated.
Now, let's flip the question around. How do I describe my own hometown clearly? I'm from a tiny village that nobody has ever heard of. If I just say the name, people look confused and we hit that awkward silence again. It stops the conversation dead.
Don't just state the obscure name if it's unknown. Give a reference point relative to a famous city or landmark. I'm from a small town near Paris. I'm from the coast about 2 hours south of Los Angeles. I'm from a village in the mountains near Denver. This gives the listener a mental map they can visualize.
And I should probably add an interesting detail, right? Just saying the location is boring and forgettable. I should paint a picture for them so they can actually imagine what my hometown is like and ask follow-up questions.
Perfect thinking. Give a basic fact plus an interesting detail. I'm from a small coastal town. It's very quiet and boring compared to the city, but the seafood is absolutely incredible because my uncle is a fisherman who brings fresh catch every morning. That gives them multiple hooks to catch onto.
Exactly. That gives them a hook to grab. They can ask about the seafood or your uncle or the quiet lifestyle compared to the city. Oh, I love seafood. What kind of fish is common in your area? See how that naturally continues the conversation forward?
So the strategy is keep it geographical and descriptive. Help the other person visualize your background in their mind. It makes you three-dimensional and memorable to them instead of just a name they'll forget in 5 minutes.
I understand now, so we know their name, their job, and their city of origin at this point, but we still need to connect on a deeper level beyond these basic facts. We need to find things we genuinely have in common.
We need to find the fun stuff, hobbies and interests and passions. That's the absolute best way to make a real friend instead of just a polite acquaintance. That's where the Ford method comes in.
The Ford method? What's that? It sounds like a car brand. Anna, I have a confession to make. Sometimes during conversations, I completely run out of things to say. I get stuck in what I call the awkward silence zone, and I just stare at my drink or my phone. I desperately need a system to keep my brain working smoothly when I'm nervous.
That's exactly why you need the Ford method. It's a classic communication tool used by salespeople, therapists, and conversationalists everywhere. It ensures you never run out of conversational topics, even when your brain feels completely blank.
Ford? Like the car company? F-O-R-D? What exactly does each letter stand for?
Yes, F-O-R-D. It stands for the 4 best topics for small talk conversation. F, family. O, occupation. We already covered this in part 3. R, recreation, hobbies and fun activities. D, dreams, goals and future plans. Today, we're focusing specifically on R, recreation.
Recreation is honestly my favorite category because this is where you actually find out if you genuinely like the person beyond surface level politeness. But asking, what are your hobbies, sounds way too formal, like I'm conducting a job interview. It's too stiff and unnatural.
I completely agree. Don't ever ask, what are your hobbies? It sounds robotic. Try these natural alternatives instead. What do you do for fun? What do you do when you're not working? Any exciting plans for the weekend? These sound much more conversational and relaxed.
What do you do for fun is definitely my favorite. It's simple, effective, and natural. It allows them to talk about Netflix, sports, cooking, knitting, traveling, anything they enjoy. And when I answer that question about myself, I need to use enthusiastic language, right? I shouldn't just say, I like hiking.
Correct. Use the phrase, I'm really into, to show passion and enthusiasm. I'm really into photography right now. I'm really into hiking on the weekends. I'm really into cooking Italian food. The word into implies you're actively passionate about it.
Into means passionate about, right? It implies you're actively doing it regularly, not just casually interested. Or I can also say I'm a big fan of, correct?
Yes, I'm a big fan of is another great option. I'm a big fan of horror movies. I'm a big fan of basketball. I'm a big fan of jazz music. It sounds very natural and American.
What if we have absolutely nothing in common? I'm passionate about football, but she's into knitting. I know absolutely nothing about knitting. Do I just change the subject immediately and find something else?
No, this is where you be curious. That's the secret. Say something like, knitting? That's cool. I don't know anything about it. How did you get into that hobby? Being curious creates connection even when the hobbies are completely different.
How did you get into that connects us even if the hobbies are totally different. It asks for their origin story and shows I genuinely care about them as a person, not just the hobby itself. People love sharing their passion stories.
Exactly right. People absolutely love explaining their passions to someone who's actually listening with genuine interest. If you let them teach you something, they'll feel really good about the conversation and remember you positively. Teaching makes people feel valuable.
Okay, so I ask questions about their fun activities and hobbies, but I also need to actually listen to their answers carefully. I can't just think about my next Ford topic while they're talking. That's rude and they'll notice.
Aha. Active listening. That's the secret weapon of charisma and connection. Most people just wait impatiently for their turn to speak. You need to actually listen deeply.
Active listening is a skill I need to develop. Anna, I've realized something about myself. Sometimes when I'm nervous in a conversation, I completely stop listening. I'm just panicking internally and thinking about my next grammar sentence. I see their mouth moving, but I don't actually hear or process the words they're saying.
That's the death of real conversation, Jake. If you aren't listening, you aren't connecting. You need active listening skills. You need to show the other person that you're engaged using reaction phrases or what linguists call backchanneling.
What is backchanneling? Is that a technical linguistics term?
It is. It's a linguistic term for the little noises and short words we make to show we're listening attentively. Uh-huh. Right. Really? No way. Oh, wow. If you sit completely silently, you looked bored or like you don't understand English.
I see now. So I need to make small noises to prove I'm present and engaged. If I sit there like a silent statue, I look bored or confused. I need to nod and say yeah and okay and naturally throughout.
Exactly. You also need to match their emotion carefully. If they tell you good news, you need high energy and excitement. Good news. That's amazing. Congratulations. How cool is that? If they tell you bad news, drop your voice and show empathy. Bad news. Oh no, that's terrible. I'm so sorry to hear that.
So I need to match their emotional energy level. If they look sad and I say, wow, cool, that would be a complete disaster. I'd look insensitive or crazy.
Another trick I learned is the echo technique. Do you know what that is?
Is that where I repeat the last few words they said back to them?
Yes, exactly. Repeating the last few words or the main idea shows you're listening. Them. I went to Italy last week. You. Italy? Wow. Them. Yeah, the food was incredible. You. Incredible food, I bet.
It proves I'm listening carefully without me having to think of a completely new grammar sentence or topic. It keeps the conversational flow going effortlessly and naturally.
It invites them to tell more details naturally. It makes them feel heard and valued, which is what everyone wants in conversation.
What if I genuinely didn't understand what they said because they spoke too fast or the music is too loud? Do I pretend I understood and just nod?
No, never fake understanding. Always be honest. Say, sorry, I didn't catch that. Could you say that again? The music is loud. Say that again. Can you repeat that?
I didn't catch that. Sounds very natural and polite. It sounds much better than just saying what, which sounds rude or harsh.
Active listening makes the other person feel special and valued. There's a famous saying, be interested to be interesting.
I love that. If I focus completely on them, I don't have to worry about myself or how I sound. The conversation becomes natural.
Okay, so I'm listening actively, but what if there's a silence I can't fix? What if the conversation just stops completely and we're standing there in awkward silence?
Handling the awkward silence. That's a nightmare scenario.
Okay, we have been talking to this stranger for 10 minutes. The conversation is dying. You need to go home or talk to someone else. How do you escape?
I usually just say bye and run away fast.
That is efficient, but very rude. It leaves the other person feeling rejected. You need a pre-closing.
A pre-closing? What is that?
It is a verbal signal that the end is coming. You can't just stop the car at 60 miles per hour. You have to slow down first. Use words like, well, or anyway.
Anyway, I should let you go.
That is the perfect phrase. I should let you go. It sounds like you're being polite by not taking up their time, even if you are the one who wants to leave.
It's a polite lie. I like it. Or I can give a reason. I'm gonna grab another drink. I need to say hi to my friend over there. I have to get going, or I have to head out.
I have to get going is very common. Then you need to give a summary compliment. It was really great meeting you, Jake. I really enjoyed chatting with you.
This closes the loop nicely. And finally, the future reference. Hope to see you around. Let's catch up later.
And if you actually want to see them again?
Are you on LinkedIn or Instagram? Let's connect.
LinkedIn for business, Instagram for friends. So the formula is signal, reason, compliment, goodbye.
Let's try it. Well, Anna, look at the time. I should probably get going to beat the traffic, but it was awesome chatting with you.
You too, Jake. Have a safe drive.
Thanks. See ya.
Perfect. Smooth exit. No awkwardness. You left a great final impression.
I feel like a social ninja. I can enter, talk, and leave without any pain.
You are ready for the real world. We have covered everything from hello to goodbye.
Let's wrap it all up in the finale.
Jake, we have covered greetings, context, work, hobbies, listening, body language, and exits. That is a lot of information.
It is. I feel like I have a complete toolkit now. But Anna, honestly, I still have that little voice in my head saying, what if I make a mistake? What if I look stupid?
That brings us to the final lesson, the golden rule of conversation.
What is it?
Connection is more important than perfection.
Really? Even if my grammar is bad?
Yes, people want to connect with you, the human being. They don't care if your grammar is perfect. If you stumble or forget a word, just laugh. Say, oh, my English is tired today.
Humor saves everything. If I can laugh at myself, they will laugh with me, not at me.
Exactly. Be curious, be kind, be interested in them. If you make the other person feel good, they will think you're a great conversationalist, even if your English isn't perfect.
That takes the pressure off. I don't have to be a walking dictionary. I just have to be Jake.
Just be Jake. Also, fake it till you make it. Even if you're terrified inside, stand tall, smile, and act confident. Eventually, the confidence becomes real.
And practice. I need to go out there and actually talk to people. Watching videos isn't enough.
Yes. Start small. Talk to the barista. Talk to the bus driver. Use the Ford method. Make small talk in the elevator.
I'm going to challenge myself to talk to one new person this week. Just one.
I love that challenge. And to our listeners, we challenge you too. Go say hello to someone.
Thank you, Anna, for guiding us through this. This series has been a game changer for me. I feel ready to meet the world.
It's good a pleasure. Thank you to everyone listening to Talk in English. We hope these scripts help you find your voice.
If you enjoyed this series, please subscribe and leave a comment below. Tell us, what is your favorite icebreaker?
We'd love to hear it. Until next time,
Keep talking, keep smiling, and keep connecting.
have a good one, guys. Goodbye.
Okay, this is incredibly awkward. Anna, stop staring at me. Why are we not talking?
The silence. It happens to everyone, even native speakers. You run out of topics. What do you do when the silence hits?
I usually panic and look at my phone, or I pretend I got an important text message. It's my escape strategy.
No, don't retreat into your phone. Stay in the pocket. Use transition phrases to restart the engine. The best word in the English language for this is so.
Just so? That seems too simple.
Yes, but you have to stretch it out musically. So, do you have any travel plans coming up? The so signals that you're changing the topic and starting something fresh.
I see. It's like a reset button for the conversation. So, how do you know the host?
Another trick is to go back to a previous topic they mentioned. If they mentioned movies 10 minutes ago, you can say, "You mentioned earlier that you like movies. Have you seen the new Marvel film?"
That shows I have a good memory. It proves I was listening earlier. That's a huge compliment to them.
Or ask a hypothetical question. These are fun and can lead to long conversations. If you could travel anywhere right now, where would you go? What's the best meal you've ever had?
Those are fun. Everyone has an answer to those. It takes the pressure off reality and moves into imagination.
And remember, Jake, sometimes silence is okay. It's a pause to breathe. You don't have to fill every second with noise.
Confidence makes silence comfortable. If I look panicked, they will feel panicked. If I smile and take a sip of my drink, it feels natural.
Exactly. But your words aren't the only thing speaking. Your body is speaking too. If your arms are crossed and you are frowning, no amount of "so" will save you.
Body language. That's a huge part of communication.
Let's talk about how to look confident even if you are scared inside. Jake, cross your arms and look at the floor. Now say, "I am so happy to meet you."
I am so happy to meet you.
Do I believe you?
No, I sound sarcastic. I look defensive and closed off.
Exactly. Body language. Your body speaks louder than your words. You need to master open body language.
What does open mean?
Uncross your arms. Crossed arms act like a shield. Face the person. Point your heart at them. Smile. It's the universal welcome sign.
What about eye contact? In some cultures, it's rude to stare, but in the US, people look at each other a lot.
In the US, eye contact shows trust and honesty. You don't have to stare 100% of the time, that's creepy, but aim for 60 to 70%. If you look at the floor or look away constantly, people think you are dishonest or very shy.
What about personal space? I know Americans like their space.
Yes, Americans need their bubble. Stand about an arm's length away. If you get too close, people get nervous and back away.
Don't pop the bubble. Got it. Stand back, but look them in the eye.
And nodding. Nodding shows you are listening. It's a physical form of back channeling.
So stand tall, smile, look them in the eye, but don't stand too close. It sounds like a dance.
It is. And pay attention to your tone of voice. English is a musical language. We go up and down to show emotion. Don't be a robot. Hello, I am Jake. Be musical. Hi, I'm Jake.
I need to exaggerate the emotion a little bit, right? Sometimes I feel like I'm acting.
You are. Speaking a second language is a performance. If you feel 10% happy, show 20%. It translates better to the listener.
Okay. Chest open, smiling, eye contact, musical voice. I feel like a confident American already.
You look like one. Now, the conversation has been great. You connected. But you can't talk forever. You have to leave.
The exit strategy. How do I leave without being rude?
That's the final skill.